You have to condition yourself for success. Our brains are naturally wired to minimize effort and maximize results. We're looking for how we can do the least amount of work and get the biggest reward for it. And that's why people are attracted to quick fixes like get money quick online, make your next $1 million today, and just a quick little pill that will drop all your weight off immediately in an instant. Or, plastic surgery just to make yourself look perfect with no real work other than some person altering your body. And I'm not saying that these things are necessarily bad. It's just they're not very effective a lot of the time. They don't change the inner self-image. They don't actually fix the core problem. They just treat the symptom. And the symptom isn't really the issue at all. The symptom of you not having enough money isn't necessarily a problem at all. It's the root cause of your limiting beliefs around wealth. It's your thoughts about money and how rich people might be bad that are actually holding you back and keeping you from achieving your goals. Maybe you just don't understand how to add a lot of value to the marketplace. Or in a different area of your life, maybe in relationships, you believe and you've been conditioned to believe that relationships that are dysfunctional are normal. It's normal to fight and scream and yell at each other because that's what you saw growing up. And so trying to treat the symptom by leaving that relationship and going into another one isn't actually going to fix the problem. Now, I'm not conditioning or supporting you or encouraging you to stay in a toxic relationship. That's your choice. If it's not right, it's not right. But a lot of the time, the issue is in our minds. It's deep within, and we've got to condition ourselves for success. Now, how do you do that? You work on your core beliefs. You work on the real underlying root cause, not the symptom. We don't work on, I don't have enough money. We work on what you believe about wealth, what you really think is possible for you. And once you change that, the actual how, the actual execution of achieving a certain outcome is actually really easy. Having a great relationship isn't even that hard. You just communicate and you're honest with each other. I mean, that's really the basic foundation. And you care about each other, right? To make a lot of money, you just add a lot of value to the marketplace. It's really not hard. I used to think it was impossible because I had a bunch of limiting beliefs. I got rid of them. All of a sudden, I was making 6 figures, like out of nowhere. And it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And it really comes down to what you believe about yourself. So the way you change it is you look at what are my core beliefs. You write them down. This is what I believe about money. This is what I believe about relationships. How have I been conditioned to behave? And then when you look at that and you really, really get a clear picture of what you believe, now you can stop the cycle of trying to minimize effort and maximize reward by working on that core root cause. You go, okay, this is my belief currently. Here's the belief that I want to replace it with. I want to believe that wealthy people are kind and they're giving and they're caring, not evil and selfish and greedy. That changes things. I want to believe that I can add value to the marketplace. I can help people. Not nobody will pay me what I'm worth. That doesn't work. You have to swap that out and you have to go through all of them. And you probably got a pretty long list if you're anything like what I was like, or even what I'm like now. We all have them. And sometimes we raise the ceiling and then we got to do it again. So even if you've achieved a lot already, go back, look at what you've got going on currently. Pull up what's under the hood. What's under the hood? What's going on under there? What's running the show? Let's work on that, not the symptom. Stop working on the symptom. You got to treat the cause. And when you treat the cause, now life becomes easier. All of a sudden, you start to get results that you thought it's never going to happen. And the reason why is because you change the thing that's actually the operating system, not trying to delete an app. Change the operating system. Make it better. Make it flawless. What beliefs would you have to have about an area in your life to get the results that you want? That's the question to ask. And then write them down. Maybe drop them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Share it with other people. Rebuild, restructure the core. And then the external results are easy. Have you taken any time lately to actually think properly? Most of us don't do that. Most of us don't dedicate any time in our day to actually think about what's going on in our life, about our goals, about our dreams, about our aspirations and what we're trying to achieve. Most of us are just running and running and running and doing and doing and doing and never really strategizing. And it's been said that 5 minutes of planning could save a lifetime of executing. So why keep executing if you aren't really clear on what it is that you're after? When's the last time you sat down with a pen and paper and wrote down goals for relationships, goals for physique or health, goals for business, goals for education, right? Like, what are my aims? What am I doing? And how much time am I actually spending, dedicating, devoting to polishing and perfecting that? How much time do I spend planning and really going deep into thinking about what's important to me? Most of us are running on autopilot and thinking all kinds of random thoughts all throughout the day, but never really taking any solid time to think properly about what's important to us. So I encourage you today, take 30 minutes, sit down, think about your goals, what you're trying to achieve, and really just let ideas flow to you. Because how many times have you been in the shower and had a flash, an insight of information that changed your life forever? Or just biking or eating something or just going outside for a walk, because you're thinking, you're actually giving yourself some space to let your mind work. Put your mind to work. Let it do some work. Let it do some heavy lifting for you instead of you grinding and working and hustling all the time. Maybe get a little strategic, change it up. Stop being caught up in the race all the time, and then you can actually make the rules instead of constantly running and running and running and draining yourself. So when you take some time and you write down what you're going to think about, now you're just brainstorming, just adding ideas. Pen to paper, simple. Whatever comes up, nothing's too dumb or far-fetched. Just let it really roll and flow. And before you know it, boom, there's that breakthrough that you've been waiting for about 5 months. It just comes to you, but you have to be the space. And that's what we don't realize, is creating space for what we want. That's our job, not to try to force it or make it happen. Just create a space and invite it in. And it'll appear much quicker than what you would have ever anticipated. It's incredible how quick ideas come to us when we put ourselves in a position to actually receive them. And the more time that you spend doing this, the more time that you actually devote to thinking, the higher quality your thinking will become. This is a skill. And if you develop it, it'll serve you very powerfully in your life. It will continue to pay dividends forever. The more that you get good at this, the better quality ideas that you have. Take some time to really develop your thinking skill. Really use that brain of yours that you've been gifted with, that beautiful mind. Let it go to work. Exercise it, just like you would go to the gym and exercise your muscles, or you would go for a run to train your cardio. Work it out. Use it. Take time to really brainstorm. Take the time to really think about what's important to you and how you can do it better. I always ask myself, how can I run my business better? How can I help my clients in a more profound way? How can I really improve my character more? And then ideas come to me and they come to me and they keep showing up. If only I'm the space for it to arrive. So remember that. Put yourself in that position. Be that space for it, and good ideas will consistently come to you. They will keep showing up. You'll be surprised. It's beautiful. It's incredible how much we really have in there that we're not utilizing. Most of us are only using a little tiny portion of our brain because we're running on autopilot all day. And when you cancel that automatic programming and you take the time and you are deliberate, all of a sudden you get to see how much potential you really have. And all of a sudden, the action that you're taking is higher quality because you've spent some time strategizing instead of a lifetime of just executing and bashing your head on the wall over and over again, not understanding why you're not getting through to where you want to go. What do you get when you have a person that's raised in a society where they're constantly being given negative feedback? Although there is some positive feedback, and sometimes you're told that you've done well and that you're good, a lot of the time, you're just constantly making mistakes. You're doing this wrong, that wrong, you need to do this more like that, and that more like this. And you're getting flustered and frustrated, and you don't understand. Half the time, it's not explained to you why they're giving you this feedback. They're just telling you, don't do this, don't do that. In your brain, it develops a little voice, a little nagging, negative ego voice that goes with you for the rest of your life. And you get to have the pleasure of constantly having yourself be criticized in everything that you're doing. So you try to paint for the first time. And of course, you're not very talented or skilled because you've barely ever done it before. You know, maybe you have some raw talent, but it's not developed yet. You give it a shot. Oh, well, it's not good enough. You know, no, somebody else does it better than me. This person made it like that, and I can't ever reach that point because look at this, it's just a piece of shit. I'm gonna give up right now before anybody makes fun of me. Or you try to make a video like what I did, and you look at it and you go, wow, well, this sucks compared to all the other people out there. And, you know, I don't really think this is any good. I wouldn't watch this, so you want to give up. Now, the difference between somebody that becomes successful in their life and someone who doesn't is that they literally say, shut up. And that's what I did. I said, shut up, shut up, shut up, because it's not helping me. When has that voice ever helped you? Maybe that one time where it kept you from embarrassing yourself. Maybe that one time where things really did go wrong for the person that put themselves out there. But here's the thing, you learn from failing and winning, not just from winning. And failing is a very important part of actually becoming successful at anything. So the fact that you would let you not being good enough or that this isn't as good as somebody else keep you from continuing to practice, keep you from putting yourself out there is ludicrous. It's crazy. It's insane. You have to say, shut up. And what this video is really about is discontinuing the self-criticism, because you're gonna get feedback from the outside world. You're gonna get all of these voices that are constantly telling you how you can't do this and you can't do that and you're not good enough and you don't have the credentials, you don't have the experience, you're too young, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too skinny, overqualified, underqualified. You're just not the right fit. You just aren't capable of it. And that's enough. You don't need yourself on that same boat, on that same train, backing those voices. So tell that part of your brain, tell that part of your ego, tell that little voice in your head that it can keep quiet. Because it's never going to help you achieve your goals. It's never going to encourage you. And the only thing it's good for is making you feel like crap. Now, some people will argue with me here and say, well, isn't a little bit of self-criticism healthy? Shouldn't I assess what skill level I'm at and, kind of review how I'm doing? That's a totally separate entity we're talking about here. Reviewing your progress, looking at how you've been progressing over the last 3 months, 3 years, looking at the charts and the graphs and actually analyzing, that's very left brain, very technical, very logical. That's fine. Do that as much as you like. In fact, that's very healthy and helpful to see that you're making progress and understand what you could do better. But that other part is an emotional, negative narrator that's always telling you, hey, you're doing this wrong and you're not good enough for this and you said this and why didn't you tell them that and you should have said this differently. And do you know what they think about you? They think that you're just one of those people, right? And it's this constant nagging negative nonsense. Negative nonsense. That's all it is. And I'm asking you to remove it from your life because I want you to be able to experience life to its fullest, to actually be able to achieve your goals and your dreams. And I know that for me, so long as that thing was still spinning, so long as that voice was still going, impossible to do anything, impossible to even try, because you can't get yourself to move because it's constantly paralyzing you. And even from time to time, I'll get that voice popping back up in my head. Oh, you want to try something new? I don't think so. Remember last time? It didn't work out so well for you, did it? So maybe you should just chill out a little bit. And I say, shut up. Time to go out there. Time to try again. Fail again. Fail better this time. Over and over and over, and you get better and better and better. And that thing gets quieter and quieter. And before you know it, you can barely hear it anymore. Before you know it, it's like this little whisper, and you don't even know. You're like, "What is that? What? No, I don't feel like I'm not good enough. I got this. I'm ready. Let's go." and your self-esteem goes up, your self-confidence goes up. You're able to be present in the moment, actually focused on the task at hand. And when you review, when you actually look at giving yourself feedback, it's genuine, it's based in reality, it's not emotional, it's not irrational. And in fact, it boosts your confidence, boosts your growth, and overall, you become a happy person because you don't have negative, nagging nonsense going on in your head. Here's how you can quickly get out of your head, get into your body, and feel happier, because it doesn't take much more than that. I work with a lot of clients, and a common pitfall, a common mistake that even I myself used to make is spending too much time on our computers, on our phones, and in our heads. We're thinking, we're processing information, we're doing all this technical stuff, and there's never any time to actually let go, relax, and be. Just be. Not be so that you can make money, or be so that you can make somebody else happy, or be so that you can get good results, but be. And that's it. Just be. Can you just be? Can you just be here? The easiest way is to do a physical activity. The big reason why so many people love going to the gym or doing a sport is not necessarily because they love the feeling of sweating and pushing really hard and lifting these really heavy weights, or running for an hour non-stop until they're about to collapse. It's because it forces you to get out of your head and finally actually get into your physical body for a moment. We weren't designed to operate non-stop in our heads. We were designed in a way where we're supposed to spend some of our time planning and thinking and conjuring up thoughts about what we could do or should do or how to create results, and then a lot of our time running around, jumping around, playing, or hunting, right? Or gathering. And yet we don't. We only want to utilize this part. And when you only utilize this part, it gets really tired and overwhelmed, and it's constantly running on this high maintenance level that basically becomes impossible to maintain. Because the more time you spend thinking, the more time you spend strategizing, the more time you spend on the computer doing all this technical work, the more you get caught up in your head and the more tired and fatigued you become. It's really hard for your mind and your body to actually feel good when you don't give it a real chance. So what I want you to do, if you actually want to quickly get out of your head and get into your body, is to simply jump a little bit, run a little bit, walk, go outside. I mean, I'm in Norway, I'm blessed, it's beautiful. But no matter where you are, find a park, step into nature, and just breathe for a moment. Alternatively, join the sports team, okay? Try it. Go to a meditation class or yoga. Just get out of your office or your room or whatever space you're constantly working, studying, doing all your stuff in. Because it's getting too stuffed in, it's getting too stuffy. It's too much. You can't expect yourself to function at your best when you don't take any time to actually become your best. How can you ask yourself to perform as a top performer when you're not taking care of yourself like a top performer? I get Olympian level sleep, okay? 100% sleep quality most nights. 9 to 10 hours nowadays. It feels great. I'm alive, I eat well, I go outside a lot. And that creates an amazing feeling in my body where I can produce non-stop content. I can coach an infinite amount of people. I can show up to events, I can do whatever it is that I need to do because the energy's there. But you can't ask for the energy when you're never fueling up. So this is me fueling up. Let the sun shine on your face, breathe in that fresh air if you're lucky enough to have some around you. Drink some water, eat some healthy food, and then watch how your brain activity will settle, go down, and you will feel a million times better. Because the trick to quitting the overthinking And to stop being in your head is to get into your body, and preferably out into nature. Whenever you want to make a leap, whenever you want to make a major change in your life, when it's something important that matters to you that you know you want to do, it's always so tempting to start looking for approval from other people or the environment. Because you want a sign that it's okay for you to do what you want to do. And so you'll look at everybody and everything else to tell you whether or not it's right. You know, should you leave the relationship you're in? Should you quit your job? Should you pursue this new passion, this new spark that you felt in you? Or should you just stay right where you are? And the ego has a way of convincing you, showing you that it's better if you just remain in your current comfort. Because that way, you don't have to expose yourself to any danger. You know, if you leave the job, there's a chance that you will lose your money. Your savings will very quickly get diminished, and you won't be able to find a new job or a new career. It finds ways to tell you that you're gonna lose this and that. You're gonna lose all your comfort. And so it's much better if you stay. But remember that, first of all, your mind can only measure what you will lose. It can never see what you will gain. It can't see the potential unless you deliberately visualize and put it in your own mind. So your job is to deliberately visualize and put it in your mind. You need to see what it is that you might gain. Because if you're ever to leave the position that you're currently in, it requires you to have a big enough promise. Otherwise, you will never pay the price. If you can't see a real opportunity for growth, if you can't see something bigger that's further ahead that will require that decision to be made, you'll never make it. You'll just stay right where you are because it's easy and it's convenient. And the other part is, of course, looking for a sign. When you're trying to get permission to do what it is that you really want to do, that's a sign in and of itself. That's the sign that you're looking for. If you're going to people asking them, should I break up with him or her? That means you should do it. Because you're asking other people whether or not you should. That means you're really entertaining the idea. Probably it's about time you just followed through on it. But it's so hard, right? It's so much easier if somebody tells us, hey, just do it. Yep. So we're looking for that. We're waiting for that. But if you make the decision, you will feel empowered. You're making your own choice. You know what it is you want in your life. You know what you're going for. And you see the promise, the potential in the future, instead of focusing on what you might lose. It's easy to say, well, what if I don't stay in this relationship? I leave them, but they turn out to be the one. But what about the one that's coming next? Or what about the thing that you really want that you're not getting, you're not satisfied with in your current career or your current state of health? You've got to leap. That's what life is about. It's easy to stay inside. It's easy to be comfortable. But once you go outside, one thing happens, and another thing happens, and another thing happens, and you'll learn, wow, every time I go outside, I feel alive. I feel like something amazing, something incredible is happening. And the more I stay inside, the more doled down I get, the lazier I get, the less momentum I have, and the less excited I am about life, and eventually, you just turn off. I know this feeling. I've had this feeling a lot, where I'm just dimming down. But if you want to shine your light, so to speak, without sounding too cliche, you have to take the leap. You have to make the decision. You gotta see the promise, and you gotta pay the price by making that decision, even though it's so tempting to put it off, even though it's so easy to start asking everybody else, do you want it? Yes or no? And if you do, you have to make the move. You can no longer stay in your shell because it's already cracking anyway. There's already an opening, so you might as well give birth to the new you. Step into the new opportunity and stop being stuck in the old rut. Are you denying yourself of opportunities because you're afraid of what you might lose? That's a common tactic that your ego will use against you to keep you stuck right where you are in your life today. You see, if you actually take a leap, if you take a chance, if you go after an opportunity,
you really can't measure what you will gain because there's a lot of uncertainty. And although something may be promised, it's not guaranteed. And so your mind tries to sabotage you. It tells you things like, well, if you move to that country, you'll lose all your friends. You'll move away and you'll never see them again, and you'll be lonely because in that country, you don't know anybody. But of course, it doesn't realize that there's a high potential that you'll make new friends, and maybe even better friends than you had where you were currently living. So, whenever your mind is trying to sabotage an opportunity for you, know that it's doing it because you're not showing the promise enough. And you can easily get your ego on your side by really demonstrating what might happen. And that's why an exercise such as visualization or even something like writing out your goals is so powerful, because you're showing your unconscious that, hey, not only am I going to leap, I'm also going to make sure that we succeed. Don't just leap. Don't just commit. Also, plan out and see what you will accomplish once you will. Don't just quit your job and then see what happens. That doesn't tend to work out for people. On the other hand, if you actually know what it is that you're going to do, the career, the new career, or the business that you're going to start, then that's powerful and that's great. And you should be showing that promise to yourself constantly to make sure that you're not thinking, oh God, I'm going to lose all that safe money, that salary, that security that I had every month is gone. And now I have to somehow improvise a way to make money. No, strategize and make a business plan beforehand. Okay? You don't have to go out there into the water and just hope for the best. A shark is probably going to get you. But when you really think it through, when you know your route, and when you visualize and see it as if it's already happened, all of a sudden your mind has proof that, you know what? We're going to make it. Because we can see a real future. We can see a real path. We know what we're doing. We're not just walking around in the dark hoping that we'll stumble across something good. We actually know how to make it to our goal. And the more you flesh this out, the more you really add substance to it, the less your mind will resist the leap. The less you'll be afraid of asking that person out or moving to a different state or whatever it is that you really want to do next in your life. Whatever that next step is for you, whatever that leap is, give yourself enough promise, enough leverage so that you can actually follow through and actually do it. Because I want you to experience that. I want you to expand. I want you to have a better life and then really grow. But you can't do that if you really don't believe that you'll have more success. If you really don't buy into that things will get even better than they are now, which of course they will. If you plan it out, if you visualize, if you get clear on your intention, you have a game plan, you're going to succeed.
I hope that you enjoyed the video. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that you don't miss a single upload. And if you'd like to experience a real breakthrough and some massive progress in your life, sign up for coaching. It's in the bottom left of your screen right now. If you click on that, you'll go to my website and you can book a free consultation to get us started.